Fourth agreement, always do your best. There is just one more agreement, but it's the one that allows the other three to become deeply ingrained habits. The fourth agreement is about doing the action of the first three. Always do your best. Under any circumstance, always do your best. No more and no less. But keep in mind that your best is never going to be the same from one moment to the next. Everything is alive and changing all the time. So your best will sometimes be high quality and other times it will not be as good. When you wake up refreshed and energized in the morning, your best will be better than when you are tired at night. Your best will be different when you are healthy as opposed to sick, sober as opposed to drunk. Your best will depend on whether you are feeling wonderful and happy or upset, angry, or jealous. In your everyday moods, your best can change from one moment to another, from 1 hour to another, from one day to another. Your best will also change over time. As you build the habit of the 4 new agreements, your best will become better than it used to be. Regardless of the quality, keep doing your best. No more, no less than your best. If you try too hard to do more than your best, you will spend more energy than is needed. And in the end, your best will not be enough. When you overdo, you deplete your body and go against yourself, and it will take you longer to accomplish your goal. But if you do less than your best, you subject yourself to frustrations, self-judgment, guilt, and regrets. So just do your best. In any circumstance in your life, it doesn't matter if you are sick or tired, if you always do your best, there is no way you can judge yourself. And if you don't judge yourself, there is no way you're going to suffer from guilt, blame, and self-punishment. By always doing your best, you will break a spell that you have been under. There was a man who wanted to transcend his suffering, so he went to a Buddhist temple to find a master to help him. He went to the master and asked, "Master, if I meditate a few hours a day, how long will it take me to transcend?" The master looked at him and said, "If you meditate 4 hours a day, perhaps you will transcend in 10 years. Thinking he could do better, the man then said, "Oh, master, what if I meditate 8 hours a day? How long will it take me to transcend?" The master looked at him and said, "If you meditate for 8 hours a day, perhaps you will transcend in 20 years. "But why will it take longer if I meditate more?" the man asked. The master replied, "You are not here to sacrifice your joy or your life. You are here to live, to be happy, and to love. If you can do your best in 2 hours of meditation, but you spend 8 hours instead, you will only grow tired, miss the point, and you won't enjoy your life. Do your best. Perhaps you will learn that no matter how long you meditate, you can live, love, and be happy." Doing your best, you're going to live your life intensely. You're going to be productive. You're going to be good to yourself because you are giving yourself to your family, to your community, to everything. But it is the action that is going to make you feel intensely happy. When you always do your best, you take action. Doing the best is taking action because you love it, not because you're expecting a reward. Most people do exactly the opposite. They only take action when they expect a reward and they don't enjoy the action. And that's the reason why they don't do their best. For example, most people go to work every day just thinking of payday and the money they will get from the work they're doing. They can hardly wait for Friday or Saturday, whatever day they receive their money, and can take time off. They're working for the reward, and as a result, they resist work. Then they try to avoid the action and it becomes more difficult and they don't do their best. They work so hard all week long, suffering the work, suffering the action, not because they like to, but because they feel that they have to. They have to work because they have to pay the rent, because they have to support their family. They have all that frustration, and when they do receive their money, they are unhappy. They have 2 days to rest, to do what they want to do. And what do? They try to escape. They get drunk because they don't like themselves. They don't like their life. There are many ways that we hurt ourselves when we don't like who we are. On the other hand, if you take action just for the sake of doing it, without expecting a reward, you will find joy in every action that you do. Rewards will come, but you are not attached to the reward. You can even get more than you would have imagined for yourself without expecting a reward. If we like what we do, if we always do our best, then we are really enjoying life. We are having fun. We don't get bored. We don't have frustrations. When you do your best, you don't give the judge the opportunity to find you guilty or to blame you. If you have done your best and the judge tries to judge you according to your book of law, you've got the answer. I did my best. There are no regrets. That is why when we do our best, it is not an easy agreement to keep, but this agreement is really going to set you free. When you do your best, you learn to accept yourself. But you have to be aware and learn from your mistakes. Learning from your mistakes means that you practice, look honestly at the results, and keep practicing. This increases your awareness. Doing your best really doesn't feel like work because you enjoy whatever it is you're doing. You know you're doing your best when you are enjoying the action or doing it in a way that will not have negative repercussions for you. You do your best because you want to, not because you have to do it, not because you're trying to please the judge, and not because you are trying to please other people. If you only take action because you have to, then there is no way you're going to do your best. Then it is better not to do it. No, you do your best because doing your best all the time makes you happy. When you're doing your best just for the pleasure of doing it, you're taking action because you enjoy the action. Action is about living fully. Inaction is the way that we deny life. Inaction is sitting in front of the television every day for years because you are afraid to be alive and to take the risk of expressing what you are. Expressing what you are is taking action. You can have many great ideas in your head, but what makes the difference is the action. Without action upon an idea, there will be no manifestation, no results, and no reward. A good example of this comes from the story about Forrest Gump. He didn't have great ideas, but he took action. He was happy because he always did his best at whatever he did. He was richly rewarded without expecting any reward at all. Taking action is being alive. It's taking the risk to go out and express your dream. This is different from imposing your dream on someone else, because everyone has the right to express his or her own dream. Doing your best is a great habit to have. I do my best in everything I do and I feel. Doing my best has become a ritual in my life because I made it the choice to make it a ritual. It's a belief, like any other belief that I choose. I make everything a ritual and I always do my best. Taking a shower is a ritual for me. And with that action, I tell my body how much I love it. I feel and enjoy the water on my body. I do my best to fulfill the needs of my body. I do my best to give my body and to receive what my body gives to me. In India, they perform a ritual called puja. In this ritual, they take idols that represent God in many different forms and bathe them, feed them, and give love to them. They even chant mantras to these idols. The idol itself is not important. What is important is that they perform the ritual the way they say, I love you, God. God is life. God is life in action. The best way to say, I love you, God, is to live your life doing your best. The best way to say thank you, God, is by letting go of the past and living in the present moment, right here, right now. Whatever life takes away from you, let it go. When you surrender and let go of the past and allow yourself to be fully alive in the moment, letting go of the past means that you can enjoy the dream that is happening right now. If you live in a past dream and you don't enjoy what is happening right now, because you will always wish it to be different than it is, there is no time to miss anyone or anything because you are alive. Not enjoying what is happening right now is living in the past and being only half alive. This leads to self-pity, suffering, and tears. You are born with the right to be happy. You are born with the right to love, to enjoy, and to share your love. You are alive, so take your life and enjoy it. Don't resist life passing through you, because that is God passing through you. Just your existence proves the existence of God. Your existence proves the existence of life and energy. We don't need to know or prove anything, just to be. To take a risk and enjoy your life is all that matters. Say no when you want to say no, and yes when you want to say yes. You have the right to be you. You can only be you when you do your best. When you don't do your best, you are denying yourself the right to be you. That's a seed that you should really nurture in your mind. You don't need knowledge or great philosophical concepts. You don't need the acceptance of others. You express your own divinity, and by being alive and by loving yourself and others. It is an expression of God to say, hey, I love you. The first 3 agreements will only work for you if you do your best. Don't expect that you will always be able to be impeccable with your word. Your routine habits are too strong and firmly rooted in your mind, but you can do your best. Don't expect that you will never take anything personally. Just do your best. Don't expect that you will never make another assumption, but you can certainly do your best. By doing your best, the habits of misusing your word, taking things personally, and making assumptions will become weaker and less frequent with time. You don't need to judge yourself, feel guilty, or punish yourself if you cannot keep these agreements. If you're doing your best, you will feel good about yourself, even if you still make assumptions, still take things personally, and still are not impeccable with your word. If you always do your best over and over again, you will become a master of transformation. Practice makes the master. By doing your best, you become the master. Everything you have ever learned, you learn through repetition. You learn to write, drive, and even to walk by repetition. You are a master of speaking your language because you practiced. Action is what makes the difference. If you do your best and search for personal freedom, in the search for self-love, you will discover that it's just a matter of time before you find what you're looking for. It's not about daydreaming or sitting for hours dreaming in meditation. You have to stand up and be human. You have to honor the man or woman that you are. Respect your body, enjoy your body, love your body. Feed, clean, and heal your body. Exercise and do what makes your body feel good. This is the puya to your body, and that is a communion between you and God. You don't need to worship idols of the Virgin Mary, the Christ, or the Buddha. You can if you want to, if it feels good to do it. Your own body is a manifestation of God, and if you honor your body, everything will change for you. When you practice giving love to every part of your body, you plant seeds of love in your mind, and when they grow, you will love, honor, and respect your body immensely. Every action then becomes a ritual in which you are honoring God. After that, the next step is honoring God with every thought, every emotion, every belief, even what is right or wrong. Every thought becomes a communion with God, and you will live a dream without judgments, victimization, and free of the need to gossip and abuse yourself. When you honor these 4 agreements together, there is no way that you will live in hell. There's absolutely no way. If you are impeccable with your word, if you don't take anything personally, if you don't make assumptions, if you always do your best, then you are going to have a beautiful life. Period. You are going to control your life 100%. The 4 agreements are a summary of the mastery of transformation. One of the masteries of the Toltec. You transform hell into heaven. The dream of the planet is transformed into your personal dream of heaven. The knowledge is there. It's just waiting for you to use it. The 4 agreements are there. You just need to adopt these agreements and respect their meaning and power. Just do your best to honor these agreements. You can make this agreement today. Today I choose to honor the 4 agreements. It's so simple and logical that even a child could understand them. But you must have a very strong will to keep these agreements. Why? Because wherever we go, we find that our path is full of obstacles. Everyone tries to sabotage our commitment to these new agreements, and everything around us is set up for us to break them. The problem is all the other agreements, they're a part of the dream of the planet. They are alive and they're very strong. That's why you need to be a great hunter, a great warrior, who can defend these 4 agreements with your life. Your happiness, your freedom, your entire way of living depends on it. The warrior's goal is to transcend this world, to escape from this hell and never come back. As the Toltecs teach us, the reward is to transcend the human experience of suffering, to become the embodiment of God. That's the reward. We really need to use every bit of power we have to succeed in keeping these agreements. I didn't expect that I could do it at first. I have fallen many times, but I stood up and I kept going. And I fell again, and I kept going, and I didn't feel sorry for myself. There was no way that I felt sorry for myself, and I said, if I fall, I am strong enough, I am intelligent enough, and I can do it. I stood up and kept going. I fell, I got back up, and I kept going. Each time, it became easier and easier. Yet in the beginning, it was hard. Very, very difficult. So if you fall, do not judge. Do not give your judge the satisfaction of turning you into a victim. No. Be tough with yourself. Stand up and make the agreement again. Okay, I broke my agreement to be impeccable with my word. I will start all over again. I'm going to keep the 4 agreements just for today. Today I will be impeccable with my word. I will not take anything personally. I will not make assumptions, and I'm going to do my best. If you break an agreement, begin again tomorrow, or in the next moment, or the next day. It will be difficult at first, but each day will become easier. Each moment will become easier and easier until someday you discover that you are ruling your life with these 4 agreements, and you will be surprised at the way your life has transformed. You don't need to be religious or go to church every day. Your love and self-respect are growing and growing. You can do it. If I did it, you can do it also. Sorry. Do not be concerned about the future. Keep your focus and attention on today and stay in the present moment. Just live one day at a time. Always do your best to keep these agreements, and soon it will be easy for you. Today, right now, is the beginning of a new dream. The Toltec Path to Freedom. Breaking old agreements. Everyone talks about freedom. All around the world, different people, different races, different countries are fighting for freedom. But what is freedom? In America, we speak of living in a free country. But are we really free? Are we free to be who we really are? The answer is no. We are not free. True freedom has to do with the human spirit. It is the freedom to be who we really are. Who stops us from being free? We blame the government, we blame the weather, we blame our parents, we blame religion, we blame God. Who really stops us from being free? We do. We stop ourselves. What does it really mean to be free? Sometimes we get married and we say we lose our freedom, and then we get divorced, yet we're still not free. What stops us? Why can't we be ourselves? We have memories of long ago when we used to be free, and we love being free, but we have forgotten what freedom really means. If we see a child who is 2 or 3, perhaps 4 years old, we find a free human. Why is this human free? Because this human does whatever he or she wants to do. The human is completely wild, just like a flower, a tree, or an animal that has not been domesticated. It's wild. And if we observe humans that are 2 years old, we find that most of the time these humans have a big smile on their face and they're having fun. They are exploring the world. They are not afraid to play. They are afraid when they are hurt, when they're hungry, and when some of their needs aren't met. But they don't worry about the past, they don't care about the future, and they only live in the present moment. Very young children are not afraid to express what they feel. They are so loving that if they perceive love, they melt into it. They are not afraid to love at all. That is the description of a normal human being. As children, we are not afraid of the future or ashamed of the past. Our normal human tendency is to enjoy life, to play, to explore, to be happy, and to love. So what has happened with the adult human? Why are we so different? Why are we not wild? From the point of view of the victim, we can say that something sad happened to us. And from the point of view of the warrior, we can say that what happened to us is normal. What has happened is that we have the book of law, the big judge, and the victim who rule our lives. We are no longer free because the judge, the victim, and the belief system don't allow us to be who we really are. Once our minds have been programmed with all that garbage, we are no longer happy. This chain of training from human to human, from generation to generation, is perfectly normal in human society. You don't need to blame your parents for teaching you to be like them. What else could they teach you but what they know? They did their best they could, and if they abused you, it was due to their own domestication, their own fears, their own beliefs, and their own abuse. They had no control over the programming they received, so they couldn't have behaved any differently. There's no need to blame your parents or anyone who abused you in your life, including yourself. But it is time to stop the abuse. It is time to free yourself of the tyranny of the judge by changing the foundation of your own agreements. It is time to free yourself from the role of the victim. The real you is still a little child who never grew up. Sometimes that little child comes out when you are having fun or playing, when you feel happy, when you're painting or writing poetry or playing the piano or expressing yourself in some way. These are the happiest moments of your life, when the real you comes out. When you don't care about the past, you don't worry about the future. You are childlike. But there is something that changes all of that. We call it responsibilities. The judge says, wait a minute, you're responsible. You have to do things. You have to work. You have to go to school. You have to earn a living. All these responsibilities come to our mind. Our face changes and becomes serious again. If you watch children when they're playing adults, you will see their little faces change. Let's pretend I'm a lawyer. And right away their face changes. The adult face takes over. We go to court, and that is the face we see, and that is what we are. We are still children, but we have lost our freedom. The freedom we are looking for is the freedom to be ourselves, to express ourselves. But if we look at our lives, we will see that most of the time we do things just to please others, just to be accepted by others, rather than living our lives to please ourselves. That is what has happened to our freedom. And we see in our society and all the societies around the world, for that every 1,000 people, 999 are completely domesticated. The worst part about it is most of them are not even aware that we are not free. There is something inside that whispers to us that we are not free, but we do not understand what it is and why we're not free. The problem with most people is that they live their lives and never discover that the judge and the victim rule their mind. And therefore, they don't have a chance to be free. The first step towards personal freedom is awareness. We need to be aware that we are not free in order to be free. We need to be aware of what the problem is in order to solve the problem. Awareness is always the first step, because if you're not aware, there's nothing you can change. If you're not aware that your mind is full of wounds and emotional poison, you can't begin to clean it and heal the wounds, and you will continue to suffer. There is no reason to suffer. With awareness, you can rebel and say, this is enough. You can look for a way to heal and transform your personal dream. The dream of the planet is just a dream. It is not even real. If you go into the dream and start challenging your beliefs, you will find that most of the beliefs that guided you into the wounded mind are not even true. You will find that you have suffered all those years of drama for nothing. Why? Because the belief system that was put inside your mind is based on lies. That is why it is important for you to master your own dream. That is why the Toltecs became dream masters. Your life is the manifestation of your dream. It is an art, and you can change your life anytime if you aren't enjoying the dream. Dream masters create a masterpiece of life. They control the dream by making choices. Everything has consequence, and a dream master is aware of the consequences. To be Toltec is a way of life. It is a way of life where there are no leaders and no followers, where you have your own truth and live your own truth. A Toltec becomes wise, becomes wild, and becomes free again. There are 3 masteries that lead people to become Toltecs. First is the mastery of awareness. This is to be aware of who we really are, with all the possibilities. The second is the mastery of transformation, how to change, how to be free of domestication. The third is mastery of intent. Intent, from the Toltec point of view, is that part of life that makes transformation of energy possible. It is the one living being that seamlessly encompasses all energy, or what we call God. Intent is life itself. It is unconditional love. The mastery of intent is therefore the mastery of love. When we talk about the Toltec path to freedom, we find that we have an entire map for breaking free of domestication. They compare the judge, the victim, and the belief system to a parasite that invades the human mind. From a Toltec point of view, all humans who are domesticated are sick. They are sick because there's a parasite that controls the mind and controls the brain. The food for the parasite is the negative emotions that come from fear. If we look at the description of a parasite, we find that a parasite is a living being who lives off other living beings, sucking their energy without any useful contribution in return, and hurting their host little by little. The judge, the victim, and the belief system fit this description very well. Together they comprise a living being made of psychic or emotional energy, and that energy is alive. Of course, it is not material energy, but neither are emotions material energy. Our dreams are not material energy either, but we know they exist. One function of the brain is to transform material energy into emotional energy. Our brain is the factory of emotions, and we have said that the main function of the brain is to dream. The Toltecs believe that the parasite, the judge, the victim, and the belief system has control of your mind. It controls your personal dream. The parasite dreams through your mind and it lives its life through your body. It survives on the emotions that come from fear and thrives on drama and suffering. The freedom we seek is to use our own mind and body to live our life instead of the life of the belief system. When we discover that the mind is controlled by the judge and the victim, and the real us is in the corner, we have just two choices. One choice is to keep living the way we are living, to surrender to the judge and the victim, to keep living in the planet or the dream of the planet. The second choice is to do what we do as children and parents, to try to domesticate us. We can rebel and say no. We can declare war against the parasite, a war against the judge, and a war against the victim, a war for our independence, a war for the right to use our own mind and our own brain. This is why in all the shamanic traditions in America, from Canada to Argentina, people call themselves warriors because they're in a war against the parasite of the mind. That is the real meaning of a warrior. The warrior is one who rebels against the invasion of the parasite. The warrior rebels and declares a war. But to be a warrior doesn't mean we always win the war. We may win or we may lose, but we always do our best. And at least we have a chance to be free again. Choosing this path gives us, at the very least, the dignity of rebellion and ensures that we will not be a helpless victim of our own whimsical emotions or the poisonous emotions of others. Even if we succumb to the enemy, the parasite, we will not be among those victims who would not fight back. At best, being a warrior gives us the opportunity to transcend the dream of the planet and to change our personal dream to a dream that we call heaven. Just like hell, heaven is a place that exists within our mind. It is a place of joy, a place where we are happy, where we are free to love and to be who we really are. We can reach heaven while we are alive. We don't have to wait until we die. God is always present, and the kingdom of heaven is everywhere. But first, we need to have the eyes and the ears to see and hear the truth. We need to be free of the parasite. The parasite can be compared to a monster with 1,000 heads. Every head of the parasite is one of the fears that we have. If we want to be free, we have to destroy the parasite. One solution is to attack the parasite head by head, which means we face each of our fears one by one. This is a slow process, but it works. Every time we face one of the fears, we are a little more free. A second approach is to stop feeding the parasite. If we don't give the parasite any food, we will kill the parasite by starvation. To do this, we have to gain control of our emotions. We have to refrain from fueling the emotions that come from fear. This isn't easy to say, but it is very difficult to do. It is difficult because the judge and the victim control our mind. A third solution is called the initiation of the dead. The initiation of the dead is found in many traditions and esoteric schools around the world. We find it in Egypt, India, Greece, and America. This is a symbolic death which kills the parasite without harming our physical body. When we die, symbolically, the parasite has to die. This is faster than the first two solutions, but it is even more difficult to do. We need a great deal of courage to face the angel of death. We need to be very strong. Let's take a closer look at each of these solutions.